Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. You know, I've been working on the Cobra Jet and I'm trying to sand out all of the clear coat, get it ready for buffing. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But this video is going to be a redo of a video that I did back in 2014, or actually a bunch of videos that I did on a Dodge Ram truck. I'm remaking this because I want to show you some things in that process. If you look at that video, look at this video and you follow it through, you'll see the paint booth, how I had started off with basically bare walls in here. And this truck is the first truck that I painted by myself, basically. I did have some help from my neighbor Roger, but overall this is the first project that I did after leaving the body shop. And also keep in mind, I was not the painter at our body shop. I did everything else, but I didn't paint. So this Dodge truck is the first thing that I did. So follow this video. I'll probably do some voiceover on it, and you can see the changes that have happened over time. Before I get to that, let me show you where I'm at with the Cobra Jet. So you've already seen this fender. I did find some things I didn't like after I buffed it. There were some dust nibs up here in the front, so I started over. Mild touch up on that, not a big concern. I have sanded the door. I have sanded the quarter panel, and I know, yes, it's very reflective, but that is not buffed yet. That is all sanded, dust nibs are gone, and the roof is sanded, and so is the deck filler, and this quarter panel is also sanded out, only to, I think, 1500 right now on this. I'm going to go over it again with 2000. I still have this driver's door to do, and there's one that run up front there, and I have gone over most of this fender, and I'm going to go over it some more. This was just a rough in to get rid of all the dust nibs that were up here on the top, and I did go pretty aggressive. I used 800 grit with a wet sandpaper and took care of all of those dust nibs up on top, and of course texture that was here on the side. So I'll continue to smooth that out. I know I've had people ask me, how much clear coat do you need? A lot. Basically this is 3 coats of clear on here, so there's plenty to deal with as far as sanding it down. And it's amazing what you can do when you look at this and you see how this is not shiny. There's a little bit of reflectiveness back there, and then you realize these were done the same way, so you can see how shiny it is. So let me show you the Dodge Ram video, and maybe you'll enjoy it. It's a good flashback, shows the progress that has happened within this paint booth, and that's it. So have a look. Okay gang, we have here a 2005 Dodge Ram 2500. Now at one point this was a really nice truck, but it's been used. It's been used as a work truck mainly, and it's had some issues. You can see here that the driver's door is mangled. It was left open and it backed up into a backhoe or something like that and rolled that door around, kind of messed up the A-pillar a little bit. And then further back, passenger side door, that's in good shape, the rear door anyway. The bed, not so good. It's got some deflections going on, kind of hard to see with this red. There's one and there's another one, and then further down, bottom of it's caved in. It's smashed in where the bumper hit it. Up here it's got a dent in the back. So, and this is the good side of the bed. Then you got the bumper and the tailgate. Now this is pretty beat up. I know it may be hard to tell on the video, but this is beat up bad. And so I'm probably going to get a new bumper for it, and I'm going to replace the bed and the tailgate. On this side, there you can see where the bumper caved in the back, and then it's also bent right here. This is rolled in, and then a tree fell on it, so that's not a good sign. And also, this side got sideswiped, so all that's caved in. You can see the bottom of the bed is rolled in too, but all this is beat up. Back of the cab's a little beat up. In fact, this is the corner of the cab's deflected in with the door. So I'm going to have to knock that out and try to straighten it up. Dent there, top of the door mangled. So going to replace both these doors, the driver's side front door, and I'm just going to replace the whole bed. And I'll probably do the prep work of jamming the doors and jamming the bed and the tailgate, and then I think I'm going to let him take it to Mako and get it painted, because he doesn't want to put a lot of money into the paint job. So, but for a work truck, it'll be just great. And here's the bed for the Dodge. I picked this up yesterday at a junkyard. It needs cleaned up. It's obviously been sitting out and gathering muck. It's got a couple little things, a little dent up on the top. That's an easy fix. Otherwise, this side is pretty good. I'm about ready to give it a good wash down and make sure it's good to go, and I can start doing Bondo work on it. Another little dent there in the corner, nothing major. Little ding up here, little ding there, and one little deflection right there. But otherwise, good solid bed, and I'm going to clean it up and start doing body work on it and get it ready to go. I've also picked up a tailgate, a couple little dings on it, but nothing major. I'll also clean it up, get it primed, and get some paint on it. So move on with this project. Okay, so along with the progress on the Dodge, one of the things we have to do is get the bed off. And it's not a bed we're saving, so who cares? So as I watch this video, I think about how much things have changed. You know, I was only about a year away from having the body shop or working in the body shop whenever I started doing this project. As you can see in the paint booth, there's no fans in the windows because this was not really intended to be a paint booth. This was meant to be just another work bay, basically, and it evolved into the paint booth that I have today. So these doors, the idea was to just jam it, you know, get them prepped, get them back on the truck, and then have the owner take it to like Mako and get it finished. So here I'm spraying with this cheap Harbor Freight purple gun. It's really not intended for this purpose. This gun is meant for like basic primers and paints, but I was using it for clear coat. So I sped up the camera here, and even there it looks like I'm moving at what would be the normal kind of speed for putting on clear coat. It's just amazing to me how much things have changed. So I'm trying to get all this taken care of, and then here's Roger putting on more clear coat on the passenger front door. And that's how slow we were moving, because the clear coat just wasn't flowing very well. You can see how cloudy that is. Again, no fans in the windows, and no paneling on the walls, nothing like that. But hey, it worked. It got it done. I made a joke here. I don't remember what it was. I think it was mumbling through my face mask as I was trying to talk to the camera, but trying to do the best we could with what we had at the time. So in this video, I was talking about the progress on this truck. These doors were from another truck from the junkyard, and they were gray, and we had jammed the inside of them to make them match the original color of the truck. And these doors, the B-pillar was knocked in. When this thing was hit, the B-pillar was pushed in probably 1.5 inches, if I remember correctly. And I had pulled the truck outside where you see it, and as I'm doing this, I had used a big strap. I did some measurements from inside the cab, and also I think I had some measurements from a truck that wasn't damaged. And I put a big strap right here around the door, and I hooked a come-along to a tree that was in the woods and just pulled on it. And thankfully the truck is heavy enough that it didn't move. I also had my son stop by and pull the back seat loose so that I could get access to this cab corner. Now, if this were at the body shop, we probably would have considered removing that cab corner and replacing it with a new piece. You know, you can buy these pieces, or you could at least buy those from, say, the Dodge dealer. But in this case, that wasn't my plan. So what I ended up doing was working these out with blocks of wood, some metal rods and some tabs that I had welded to those areas to pull them out. As I go around to the other side of the truck, I'm just highlighting some of the details with the fitment of the driver's door. And anytime you put a new panel on that fits properly, it makes you feel good. The A-pillar was a little out of shape, and I don't remember exactly what I did to move it. If I welded, or I think I may have bolted something to the door hinge and kind of pushed in on it to make it rotate back, because the door had been pulled out whenever they backed up. And I think, like I said earlier, he had backed into a piece of heavy equipment, and it rotated that door assembly and the A-pillar. Here I am reviewing some of the work that it has been done. I went inside through that cavity. I used a block of wood. I have a metal rod there that I was pushing, hitting up at an angle to push out the metal as much as I could. And I also end up using the Harbor Freight spot welder gun. And those things are pretty handy, and they've got the little, like little nail head things that you attach, and you hook onto it with a clamp and just slide them out. And I've used that many times in other videos. I've shown that in several other things where I've done repair work like that. The big thing that I see here is that bottom corner is not a big problem, but as I look up, I realize the gap between the back of the, say, C-pillar at this point and the door is pretty good sized. And I can't remember exactly what I did. I may have just built that up with some short strand fiberglass filler, because there's no way to rotate metal back into that position. I couldn't have pulled it forward if I wanted to. And sometimes whenever you're doing this, the simple fix is just to add filler. Same way here, this cab corner, only so much I could do at this point. I may have been able to take some tabs that were made of plate and actually weld them to this and use a big slide hammer, and I would have gotten more of it out, but this wasn't a concern. This truck is meant to be a work truck. They just wanted it to look good driving it and have everything function, doors open and close and all that. So in this segment, I was looking over this door gap, and I know I shaped that with the short strand fiberglass, and I probably did more to it after this, but I was just showing the progress. Now, once I get everything shaped or built up really good with the short strand fiberglass, I'll come back and cover it with good quality body filler, like the Rage Ultra that I like to use. It just takes time. I just left as I said, had left the body shop not even a year ago, so I was very up to date on doing these kind of repairs. Now here I have sprayed it with the high build primer, and it looks really nice. You can see where I've taped it off, and I was very careful. I sprayed this outside. I did not do it in the paint booth area, and the reason for that was I really didn't plan to put this back in the paint booth. The results showed that I was able to spray this and make it look good, and so the decision was made that I would go ahead and paint the whole thing. This was just an opportunity for me to learn some things and show what I was capable of doing. So I had sprayed this corner, and it turned out fantastic, at least in my opinion. I feel like it was as good as anything else that was done in, let's say, a basic home shop, but I really didn't. I think I sprayed all this outside, so there's not even any trash in it, which is remarkable to me. And as I've said, I decided to do the whole truck myself, and I'll talk more about that with the regular video in the next sequence. Okay, gang, here's the big Dodge project. I know you've been following along. I've got other videos showing progress. Just kind of want to show you where it's at right now. I've got had some damage on these fenders. Here, down here. Straightened those up, got them filled. Had a little dent here on the replacement door, so took care of that. Had another little section back here. I think the door handle got hit, and it kind of bowed this in a little bit. So that's really not much filler at all. It's just to smooth it out. Of course, you saw the cab corner, and it turned out nice. You didn't see the roof. There was a dent where a tree fell on it, somewhere in this area. So I worked that back up, smoothed it out, and the next step will be to get some primer on that. But I'll show you the rest of it. I pulled the hood off, so it'll be done with the bed and the front bumper cover. Of course, pulled the headlights, all that stuff. This fender was rolled in when the door had come out over center, and it pressed that in, so worked that back out, got it smooth. A couple little dings in this replacement door. Passenger door, nothing wrong with it. Here's something you can see, maybe the color difference where the door handle was and then the paint. And it's strange, the paint actually got darker. So thought that was interesting. There's a little repair spot I got to do back here in this cab corner. Take care of that shortly. And the plan is to get primer on all these spots today, get them smoothed out, and then get it prepped so I can seal the whole truck and then get some paint on it. But I wanted to show you too was I've got a couple fans going, blowing out, obviously. One there and one up there. And then I added these lights. I know they're really bright, but man, they're doing a good job. And those are from Lowe's. Those are actually LED lights. So this is temporary because the plan is to have sheetrock in this area, but I'm just got overwhelmed and need to get this truck done, so I'm using the space. There's the other LED light. And then I also rigged up a water separator. I had my air line coming in and ran it back and mounted a water separator back here. So I'll also put in a desiccant dryer. Picked one up from Harbor Freight. There's those little filter and desiccant dryer. But that's the plan anyway. Get some primer on it and move on. Okay, so I showed you earlier, I think I showed you, that I painted or did a little bit of work on that Dodge truck with that cheap Harbor Freight gun. Now it worked okay, but I wanted to step it up a little bit because it's a big project and I don't have time to waste on little cups and refilling them. So I went to my local PPG rep and I picked up this ATD 6900 kit. Now it's not an expensive kit. It was like, I don't know, 140, 150 bucks. But it comes with two guns with big, looks like 1-quart cups on them, and a little touch-up gun and a regulator. But the guns, this is a 1.4 and this is a 1.8. So because I don't want to use these great big cups, I've converted these both to a PPS 3M cup adapter. This part, this unscrews and then this screws on. And the way that works is with the kit you get this PPS shell. Now it's hollow, I mean it's got a hole in the bottom. And the reason for that is you take these liners, you buy them in a box. There's a box of cups and liners, or liners and lids I should say. You set the liner down inside of there. You can mix, you can see through and get your ratios. Then you take this lid and it pops inside of that and you put on a retainer ring. Okay, and when that's all said and done, you can take your gun, put it on upside down, line it up with the fitting, you'll rotate it and lock it in, but now you've got a sealed cup and liner all in one shot. And the really nice part about it is these lids have a built-in screen. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see it or not. There you can see it. There's a screen right there. So it keeps out any contaminants. But I'm going to use this setup. I'm getting ready to throw some primer on the truck. And of course later on I'll come back with sealer and paint and clear coat. Just wanted to show you what I was using, and maybe that'll be helpful. Thought I'd show you another quick little trick. When you're pouring this primer or paints or anything, take some wide yellow or wide tape, 1.5 inches or whatever, and make yourself a V and make sure you hit the edges, tape it down nice. When you pour, hey look, no overflow. and you can control it, and then you just peel this off and you're done. Well, the roof is done. It turned out okay. You know, for the restrictions I have with this homemade paint booth and workspace, I'm content with it. I mean, it's red, it's shiny, it's got some dry areas. You can see some of the hail dings that were there before, which I had no intention of fixing. And that takes care of the roof though. So I'm happy with that. And what I'll do is move on and get the rest of the truck, hopefully finish up sanding the primer down on it and sealing it and get some paint on it tomorrow. That's the goal anyway. Now what I find funny in this sequence is I filmed this with my iPod. But it worked. I needed something to do a time lapse with, and at the time I couldn't do that type of editing with the software that I had, so I just used the iPod to make the whole sequence. Now you'll see here I'm masking off the lower section of this truck. Looking back, I don't even remember most of this project. It's just I've done so many things over the years that I tend to forget some of the work that I've done. And this is just masking it so that I can get the color on the bottom of the door. You probably saw that in the first sequence when I was showing the truck itself, and it just needed to be redone. So I got that on there, and I'm shooting clear coat on top of all that. I'm doing the other side as well, as you can see. And I just did the cab by itself because I could not do the truck bed in the booth at the same time that I was doing the truck. There was just not enough room, and I needed to spray the back of the cab as well. So now it's clearing out, and we'll take another look at it. Okay, gang, here's the finished product. This is of course, that Dodge 2500 makeover. And as you recall, or may not recall, I don't know, replaced the driver's door, replaced the whole bed, replaced the tailgate, back bumper, and replaced both doors on this side. Of course, had to do some repair work to that cab corner that was smashed in. Did some repair work to both front fenders, and obviously repainted the whole truck. I'm not 100% happy with it, but as I've stated, it's not a show truck, it's a work truck. And I know it has flaws and it has issues, and I could walk around all day and point at all of them and tell you what they are, but for the most part I think it turned out pretty decent. I know it's going to get beat up, it's going to get muddy again and dirty again, but that's okay. It's a work truck. So I've learned some things, and there's room for improvement, and as long as I'm learning something, I'm not disappointed. But I know I could do better, and next time it will do better. And of course, when we had the body shop, my partner did all the paint work, and I did body work and metal work and all that stuff. And I will say he was a much better painter than I'll ever be. But again, I'm pretty happy with it, and we'll just drive on from there. Hope you enjoyed that. I know it's been so long that I forgot most of the stuff that I even did to that truck, but it's fun to watch. So that'll be it for this video. Once again, thank you to my patrons who continue to support me. And also, there's a new link in my description box down below. Basically, it's a tip jar. If you want to tip the channel, there's a way to do that. It's a PayPal link, and it's just in that box down below. Otherwise, that'll be it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.